health and their safety is top priority. And I wonder if you all are aware that chiropractic care is safe and very good for children as well. It's good for babies, it's good for pregnant moms, it's good for little kids and adults of every age. A little bit about me first before I get into my material. I graduated from Illinois State University with a bachelor's in physical education. That's where I first started to have back pain. I was always an athlete. I did landscaping professionally on the side in college, and I had my first bout of lower back pain and sciatica. I believe it was my junior year in college, and I went from there to chiropractic college in Davenport, Iowa, and I've been a chiropractor now for about 15 years. I've been practicing here in Springfield for about 12 years, and here is my beautiful office. I was working as an independent contractor here in town for about 10 years with another chiropractor. He left the state. I bought everything and took over both of our practices and moved it to South 6th Street, where I am now, right across the street from the county market that just closed a little while ago, right near Habitat for Humanity. So, I think healthcare is a topic that has been discussed a lot lately. It's kind of getting a lot of attention in politics even now, and healthcare in the United States is something that we all need to be very well aware of how to use it correctly. Here's a chart. Speaking of keeping kids safe, and all of us for that matter, this red line right here is life expectancy in years going vertically here, and then dollars spent on healthcare going to the side here. And what you'll see is people in America are tending to live about 10 years less than most other countries, like those first world countries listed there. 10 years shorter lives, much lower quality of life, multiple chronic diseases for 60 to 70% of American adults. I believe it's 70% of children right now are not fit for military service by the time they get to that age. And as of the year 2000, children born after the year 2000, which is all three of my kids, are not expected to live as long as their parents. This is the first time in 200 years that that's been the case. So if you utilize the wonderful modern technology that we have now that's available to us and use the great health care that's available correctly, that's not the case. We don't have to live this life. We can experience a much higher quality of life than charts like this would suggest if we use healthcare correctly. And I'm here today to share a little bit about my practice and also to give you guys some tips on how to get the most out of your body so that you can enjoy the time you spend in your skin. So first thing I want to share is, did you guys all know that chiropractic care is a healthcare system? I think a lot of us get the idea it's just for neck and back pain. Is there anybody that didn't know it's actually for healthcare? It is, it really is. I bet you didn't know that chiropractic care was born in the Quad Cities. Davenport, Iowa. In 1895, so about 130 years ago, Dr. Palmer tried it on a guy, and it helped him so much beyond neck pain. It actually gave the guy his hearing back. I can tell you the story if I have more time, but it really did. So they tried to figure out what the heck happened. How did we pop this guy's back and his hearing came back? Well, it turns out your nerve system is inside your spine, and when your spine gets misaligned, it can throw off everything in your body. And to illustrate that point, or maybe even describe how that actually works, has anyone heard about the concussion protocols in the NFL? Became a big deal not too long ago. That was chiropractors that did the research. And what they discovered was when someone gets a cranial injury, it bruises the brain tissue. And over time, in repeated injuries, it creates a damaged spot or a sclerotic scar tissue where that electricity that flows through the brain, it doesn't flow anymore from the damage, and that's post-concussion syndrome. Well, it turns out that that same research that led to that information showed that repeated spinal injuries that cause misalignments of the spinal joints cause concussion to the spinal nerve tissue, and it's that spinal nerve tissue that controls and coordinates 37 trillion cells in your body to create health. So, if we keep our spines healthy, I'm going to skip some slides. I got more information here than I'll have time to go over with you guys. spine healthy, it makes the rest of your body as healthy as it can possibly be. Every single organ in your body is under the direct control of your nerve system via the spine. So that's really chiropractic in a nutshell. I could go on and on and on, I'll spare you guys. But that's really the gist of it. If you were to take a step back from healthcare today, I like this slide for that. Let's take a big step back and think of how we're utilizing healthcare. What we have is a sick care system. We tend to wait until something breaks down, and then we hope there's some smart guy with a pill or a prescription pad that can provide health for us, and that's just really not how it works. We're about 4% of the world's population. We consume at least 40% of the world's drugs. Harvard University, I believe, says 40%. Some estimates are as much as 80% of the world's pharmaceuticals are consumed right here in the United States. And if you were going to get health from a prescription bottle, we'd have got it by now, but you saw the chart. So if we take a different approach, this is kind of how we do it. Anybody ever seen this before? The parable of the elephant, six blind men and the elephant. It's kind of like not seeing the forest for the trees. You get up too close to something and you're looking at it too close. Maybe sometimes you just need to take a step back. All of the pharmaceutical medicines that are available to us are not geared at correcting disease. They're geared at treating symptoms. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's like when something goes wrong, there's a pill to treat the symptoms. They're not geared at generating health in the body. Medical care is likened unto like the fire department, maybe, if you will, the emergency response system. You know, the house is burning down, who are you going to call, right? Not the Ghostbusters. You call the fire department, they come with axes and hoses, and they put the fire out, they save the day. Great. But what do you do the next day? When you want to create health in your body, or in your home, you call a different set of people, right? To rebuild, to renovate, to build back your life to a better place. So that's where natural, holistic healthcare, like chiropractic, comes into place. We help bring about health in the body with a whole different set of skills. Medical people are there for emergency when health is leaving rapidly. But when you want to build health back into your body, I think the most overlooked thing is spinal health. Your spine runs your entire body. If you're walking around with spinal misalignments that are caused by injuries, they're caused by stress, they're caused by poor diet can shift your spine out of alignment. All these different bad exercise habits, too much exercise, not enough exercise, those things can shift your spinal health out of whack and create a lower quality of life. So that's chiropractic in a nutshell. The science, art, and philosophy of identifying these misalignments. So this is the small portion of the spine. When they get misaligned, the vertebrae, whether it's in the neck, in the mid-back, the lumbar spine, or even the pelvis, totally different types of joints in the pelvis, they get shifted out of alignment and they get stuck that way. They glue themselves together, and that initiates arthritis, the arthritic process. They call that degenerative disc disease. It's oddly enough, it's the same process that when the joints wear out and damage themselves, it's the same chemical process. It's rust. It oxidizes. So when the old timers said you're getting rusty, it's exactly what happens. Joints get misaligned, they get glued together, and then they begin to oxidize and deteriorate from the inside out. And that causes not only degenerative discs or sacroiliac joints, those other joints, the set joints, but that degenerative process causes inflammation and it damages nerve tissue and inhibits the electrical function of the spine. So when you talk about producing health in humans, yes, it's important to be able to bring people back from the brink, like our medical people are so good at it. We're very thankful that we have them. But when it comes to creating health in the body, I'm gonna skip to my next slide. Here's your meds. I got some meds for that. Since we all love that, here's some meds to create health in your body. What you need, if you don't need medical emergency intervention, here's the best things you can do to enact health in the body. Number one is movement. You gotta move. Move it or lose it. That's very true in a lot of ways. Movement means moving your body. 30 minutes of vigorous activity every day is a great rule of thumb. That could be walking the dog, it could be playing with the kids, it could be exercise, whatever is safe and appropriate for your body. If you're not, haven't been active, or you have joint concerns, you don't want to be, if you can't crawl down onto the ground and get back up safely, which becomes a concern as you get older, you don't want to be going doing yoga, but you want to be doing some movement each day. Energy is something, you gotta know your body is an electrical organism. It's a bioelectric creature where you have an electric field about your body. Your food produces energy. Movement produces energy. You're thinking in terms of energy production. What is it that's going to stimulate your body and make better energy? And doctors that make you healthier. Not just doctors that save you from emergency situations, but doctors that make you healthier, like chiropractors, naturopaths, acupuncture doctors. These things increase the amount of energy and health in your body. How am I doing on that? Doing overtime. Okay. And spinal health. I got a couple of, I'll show you a case example, but before I get into, I'll just go over one of these with you. I'll go over Shirley. But I want to tell you briefly what makes me different than every other chiropractor in town. I do it differently. I do a very traditional style of chiropractic. What you see here is a set of full spine digital x-rays. And I bet you would think that every chiropractor would know every single disc and the alignment of every vertebrae in your spine. I'm the only chiropractor in Central Illinois that does this. There are other chiropractors that will take an x-ray, but none of them will look at the whole spine, and they certainly won't do it routinely. Every chiropractor should be doing this. How many dentists have you been to that only x-ray the tooth that you complained about? They do them all, right? So full spine x-ray is very important because we can see the health of every single joint in your spine. And the method I do is called Gonstead. It's someone's last name, you never probably have heard of it. But it's as traditional as it gets. It's hands-on chiropractic. Our goal is to be as precise as possible by measuring every joint in the spine as needed and providing corrective, specific adjustments. So not willy-nilly whack them and crack them, but measured, scientific and precise. So chiropractic is good for every age. Shirley, she's in her 90s. She gets weekly chiropractic adjustments for wellness. Some people use chiropractic care on an emergency basis because they're having some episode with their back. That's great. A lot of them graduate to using it on some type of a regular basis for wellness and to keep their body working correctly. She runs circles around her friends, she gardens, she quilts, and her friends that are 20, 30 years younger than her can barely keep up. I happen to actually specialize in disc cases. This is Ryan, he's active duty military. He asked me to cover his face. Ryan had a disc herniation. He's getting ready to go to officer training school, and he blew out his back. He was afraid he couldn't continue with his military career. He had an MRI. You can see his lumbar spine here. Bulging discs. This is the spinal cord right here, bulging into the spinal canal. And 18 months of corrective chiropractic care later, you can see the result. I can work with people that have multiple bolts and screws and have had surgeries, disc herniations, as well as tiny little babies. I just gave, how old is this kid now? Must be 6 weeks old, 8 weeks old. Got his first chiropractic adjustment just yesterday. So it's good for every age. I try to be as precise as possible with my adjustments. That's what makes me different. And I appreciate you guys giving me a little bit of your time. I don't want to keep you any longer. That's another cool case. Kid fell out of a trampoline, screwed up her neck, and she's a lot better now. But I have a booth at the back. I want to help you guys. I'm very passionate about what I do. If you can't tell, I love it. It's really fun. I get to help people with my bare hands heal and feel better. If you have concerns with your back or neck or health, I have a booth. I can do a free screening. I have a free posture upgrade. Please feel free to stop by. Also, I love to speak in public. I love to share about chiropractic and health and what I do. If you have employees that need to take better care of their health, if you want to make sure they're not hurting their back at work, whether it's sitting in chair all day or lifting correctly, I love to do well at work classes. I'll come into your place of business, and I have about a 30 to 45-minute presentation that I can do to help boost productivity and lower sick days. So come stop by my booth, check me out.